So, good morning. Sorry for the delay in posting this video, and I was traveling from Hyderabad to Delhi. So, now let's discuss some issues related to the 4th May newspaper over here. The first thing is, it is related to the war in Yemen. Let us try to talk something about. What is this article is providing is, what is the history of the crisis in Yemen? And the second thing is, what is the role played by the Saudi Arabia and Iran over there? And the third thing which we are talking about is this. We are discussing something, what is the way out or what is the solution out of it. So these are the three things mainly covered in this particular article. Let us see this mind map. So the first part of this mind map talks about the history. Now if you see till 1960s, the entire Yemen administration is dominated by Shia Imams. So there are two sects in Shias. One is Zaidi Shias and next are Houthis. So these are the two Shia sects. The Zaidi Shias ruled the country, almost for the entire period. Now, so in 1960s, these particular Imams were replaced by a military ruler. His name is Abdullah Salal. And the continuation of this lineage was the Abdullah Saleh. And this Abdullah Saleh was replaced as a president in Arab Spring during 2011. Now, who are the warring factions? When in the 2011, when he is being replaced, the Houthis, they are not being given a representation in this particular post-Arab Spring scenario. So, the disposed Saleh and Houthis who are not given the representation, on one side they are fighting against the state, that is the president, that is Mansur Ali Hadi. Now the Saleh being the previous president and a military commander, he has control and sympathizers in the military. And added to the free weapons which are available in Yemen, they made the Houthis really strong. And because of this, so they are able to capture the capital Sana'a. Now, this particular disposed leader, that is Mr. Mansur Ali Hadi, he is supported by Saudi Arabia. On the other hand, it was accused that Iran is in support of the Houthi Shias, especially the Abdullah Saleh and the Houthi Shias, they are supported by the Iran. So now, the fight is between Houthi rebels who are supported by Mr. Saleh, the deposed president in the Arab Spring, versus the government of the day, especially represented by Mr. Hadi, Mansur Ali Hadi. This is what is the history of the Saudi Arabian war. And now let's get into, so what is the response of the Saudi Arabia? So in the Yemen war, Saudi Arabia started Operation Decisive Storm. You know that the Saudi king recently passed away. The son of Salman became the new king, became the defense minister, who is less than 30, and he is very active and confident to go for a war to go for air bombing on the Yemen. And there is a lot of confusion with regard to Saudi establishment. After the Operation Decisive Storm, they declared that there is an end to it, and they started Operation Restore Hope. And even after starting this, immediately they resorted back to the airstrikes. It means that there is a lot of confusion within the Saudi establishment itself. The America is not actually supporting the Saudi on this particular matter. But however, Saudi is able to group all the Sunni countries to support its initiative. That's a positive development. But however, Pakistan did not come into this particular grouping. So that is one thing. Now, what is the way out in this particular scenario? Now the solution, only the solution for this type of crisis, that is national dialogue. Now, how the national dialogue has to be built in? A national dialogue can come up when the common grounds are being established between the people. What are these common grounds which are being established? There is a person by name who is permanent representative of Yemen in the United Nations. He is called Khalid Baha. And this person is appointed by Mr. Hadi as his vice president. And he is an acceptable person both for Houthis and Mr. Hadi. And added to that, there is a peace and partnership agreement between Houthis and Mr. Hadi, which was signed in 2014, and various UN resolutions. All these can create a common ground for dialogue, and ultimately the solution for this particular problem is nothing but dialogue and dialogue. That's what is the thing. Let's see this new article. So there is a foundation called as Daksh Foundation, which is working from Bangalore. It found certain startling facts with regard to the judicial functioning in India. The first thing is the judiciary. We thought that there are large pending cases is the major issue. Now it is documenting all the details with regard to the case delivery across high courts in India. In this case, what it found is large differences exist among the high courts on the definition of data standards and data management. What does that mean? So there are different standards were used for the compiling of data. There is no uniformity across the country in spite of the law enforcement and laws are uniformly implemented throughout the nation. And the second thing is more than 1/4 of the cases they are existing still at the admission stage. They are stuck at the admission stage. This present rule of law, this is what project name is called as the rule of law project. What is its ultimate help is going to be. So what are the processes which are leading to the delay? So we can identify this process and improve the efficiency of functioning of the court system in India. So we can use this particular Daksh Foundation report as an supportive statement, supportive document to our statement in the examination. So pending of cases. So in a recent statement by Daksh Foundation, this is what is found, or this is what has been told. You can tell in such a way. And next is, I found a very good conclusion for the judicial activism in India. So what this article says is, Mr. Joseph Kurian, Justice Joseph Kurian, he says, judicial activism is the duty of the judiciary against legislative adventurism and executive excuses or executive excesses. Now, if you observe carefully, we have fundamental rights, but the social rights, though they are there, they are not being enforced by the judiciary. They cannot be enforced. Now, in this case, the social rights became the part of the fundamental rights. That is liberal interpretation of the Article 21, etc. Everything was possible because of the judicial activism. And the second thing is, the judicial activism in India has led to the midday meal program, the Food Security Act, etc. Now, what is the major complaint about the judicial activism? It is disturbing the separation of the powers. Now, for this, Justice Kurian, what he says is this. In India, the separation of powers is only partial but not complete. And judiciary as an institution has the right for the final interpretation of the constitution. So in this particular circumstances, the judicial activism flows from the judicial review itself. And on the other hand, the public interest litigation, so it has a very useful impact on the society with regard to the interpretation of the laws and expanding the rights of the people. So these are the observations made. And next is the gender bias in India. Recently, Ram Dev's Divya Putra Jivak Bij, which has been exposed the son preference in India. Now, because of this, the sex ratio already abysmally low in Haryana, and this particular situation of son preference is making the things much worse. Though it is politicized, the underlying implications of this, what we are supposed to look at is, in India, there are many alternative medicines which are available. The magical cure which is available in India is thriving due to lack of scientific validity. So we are also dismissing many of the medicines, Ayurvedic, etc., because of the lack of the scientific validity. So in these circumstances, validation of the medicines as like allopathy, that is what is the objective. So it means a scientific validation is need to be undertaken. Without this validation, there is a good scope for the people getting cheated and under the blind faith. So let's let's work on the scientific validation. It is not only significant from building the scientific temper, but also from economic perspective. If you can patent the ancient knowledge which is existing in the society, it can be an economic built up. It can help the economic built up of the country. And the next thing is the smoking. Recently, with regard to the pictorials, what it has been said is there is no valid proof or India-based case studies that smoking is leading to increased death in India. Now, in this case, what has been said is there is a study conducted by University of Maryland and National Council of Applied Economics. So, what this study says is the smoking in India is high among illiterates, lower income groups, and that is lower socio-economic strata. And there is definitely an increased incidence of mortality and morbidity from the smoking in India too. So it means, so there is a scientific validity between connecting the smoking and the increased incidence of the death in India too. So these are the various articles today which are important. Thank you very much.